Congratulations! With only 6% battery left on your phone, you just stumbled upon this intense and restricted horror film. As a movie commentary creator, starting today, I will dedicate my entire life to explaining 10,000 suspense, thriller, and horror films for my audience. And the film I'm covering today is Pulau. The entire film was packed with high-tension moments, with endless twists, and its ending has been called by countless viewers the most chilling twist of all. Using an island exploration as the starting point, the director peels back the curse of a deserted island that has lasted for a century, and through layers of escalating horror, explores the consequences of prejudice and hatred, while also revealing the deeper themes of love and redemption, allowing us, amid the screams, to glimpse the greed and reverence hidden deep within human nature. Alright, no more talk. Let's get straight into it. At the beginning of the story, the camera focuses on a group of energetic young people. In search of excitement, they decide to explore the infamous Ghost Face Island, a place surrounded by a legend that has been passed down for over 100 years. The island lies deep off the west coast of Malaysia, and according to the legend, all the villagers on the island died mysteriously overnight. Even to this day, an eerie presence still lingers over the island, and anyone who sets foot there has never been seen again. But to these modern young people, it is nothing more than a local myth, and they pay it no real attention. With a mix of curiosity and a bit of reckless confidence, they follow a guide and head toward the so-called Ghost Face Island. As they approach, the camera gives a sweeping shot of the island. Under a gloomy sky, the entire island is shrouded in thick, dark clouds. The moment they step onto the island, Kat instantly feels a chill run through her body, but curiosity still drives them deeper into the jungle. What they do not realize is that they are slowly stepping into a forbidden place of death. The deeper they go, the darker it becomes. Soon enough, a village abandoned for 100 years appears before their eyes, with several grotesque wooden dolls placed nearby. Even more strangely, the area is surrounded by a rope, as if someone had deliberately tried to keep outsiders away. From a distance, the entire village is enveloped in a sinister atmosphere that sends chills down the spine. However, Kai shows no sense of fear, and casually unties the rope. I honestly cannot understand it. He could have simply bent down and walked through, but he chose to untie the rope instead. That reckless action breaks the century-old curse sealed in this place. Behind him, Kat begins to feel uneasy, while Kai even starts playing with one of the wooden dolls. Seeing this, Kat immediately steps forward to stop him. Having had the ability to see beyond the ordinary since childhood, Kat has far more respect and caution than the others, but her warnings ultimately fail to stop her companions from continuing their exploration. As night falls, they decide to stay overnight on the island. They find a dilapidated wooden house, tidy it up a little, and settle in for the night. At first, no one notices anything unusual, and exhaustion quickly pulls them into sleep. But the village at midnight is no longer a peaceful place. Kat is soon awakened by a sorrowful crying sound coming from the forest. As she gets up to investigate, she witnesses a terrifying scene. Her friends are all sitting upright in a straight line, as if they are still asleep. Before she can make sense of it, they all lie back down one after another. At that moment, Kat is overwhelmed with fear and helplessness. She realizes something is very wrong with this village, while her companions remain completely unaware of the danger. Suddenly, she wakes up again, and it is already morning, as if everything from the night before had just been a nightmare. Kat does not think too much about it, and the group heads to the beach to wait for the guide to pick them up. But deep down, Kat feels uneasy, unsure whether what she experienced last night was real or just a dream. Just as Lily tries to contact the guide, she realizes that the signal, which worked perfectly the day before, has completely disappeared. Even stranger, when checking her phone, she finds a photo that was never taken, showing all of them lying neatly on the ground asleep.
Откуда это фото?
Мне страшно.
But all 7 of them were asleep at the time. So who took the photo? This eerie picture instantly shifts their mood from relaxed to fearful, and Kat becomes even more certain that what happened last night was not a dream. To avoid worrying the others, the 3 of them decide to tell the rest only after they return. But what they never expected is that this wait would mark the beginning of their despair, because from morning until evening, the guide never shows up. It turns out that their friends back at the resort had deliberately hidden the truth, wanting them to experience a real survival adventure. When the guide learns about this, he angrily scolds them, but with no signal on the island, he cannot reach them, so he leaves a warning, telling them never to approach the abandoned village, or the consequences will be severe. However, none of them ever receive this warning, fearing that the events of the previous night might repeat. Kat and her friends choose a different cabin this time. They think that changing locations might give them some peace, but they cannot escape the grip of the curse. After everyone falls asleep, Kai comes up with another reckless idea and sneaks into the jungle with his girlfriend Yes. While the two are playing near a pile of stones, they accidentally knock it over. At the moment the stones collapse, a strange smoke rises from a nearby cave, and the seal of a witch is completely broken. At the same time, Kat is jolted awake, only to find the cabin empty, while a faint glow of fire flickers outside. Terrified, she slowly steps out and sees villagers seemingly performing some kind of ritual. The moment an old man unties a rope, the witch suddenly appears.
Никто из вас не спасется.
Before Kat can react, the witch begins attacking the villagers. To her shock, the witch can actually see Kat within the dream, and just as it is about to rush toward her, Kat suddenly snaps back to reality. One nightmare after another makes Kat realize that this island is hiding a dark and unspeakable secret. Meanwhile, Kai even urinates on the stones, sensing that her husband has been desecrated. The witch awakens instantly, and a mysterious force suddenly surges forward. With no time to escape, Kai is taken away on the spot, while his girlfriend Yes is terrified out of her mind and scrambles back to inform the others. Because everything happens so suddenly, Yes has no idea how to explain it clearly. The group can only go out together to search for him, but after combing through the surrounding area, there is still no trace of Kai. At this moment, Kai has already been captured by the witch and taken into a cave, his body tightly bound to a stone slab. Only then does he realize that he has caused an unforgivable disaster for the man who desecrated her husband. The witch wastes no time. Meanwhile, the others search through the jungle all night, yet still cannot find any sign of him, so they decide to first find a way to leave the island. Fortunately, as they arrive at the shore, they discover that the guide has finally come to pick them up. Just as hope begins to return, the speedboat suddenly explodes. This unexpected accident leaves them frozen in place. The hope that had just reignited is instantly swallowed once again by despair. But even more terrifying, they realize that Mark has disappeared without anyone noticing when it happened. These consecutive incidents make Kat realize that they can no longer sit and wait. She tells the group about her recurring dreams of the witch, suspecting that all these strange events must be connected to the witch whose seal was accidentally broken. So she leads them back to the entrance of the village, restores the rope that had been untied, and wipes away the markings on the dolls. The only thing they can do now is find the witch and break the curse, otherwise everyone will die here. What they do not realize is that they are already like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Guided by Kat's memories from her dreams, they return to the pile of stones that Kai had kicked over, vaguely recalling that this is where the villagers buried the witch's husband. The moment someone touches the stones, a strange cold wind suddenly begins to blow. To confirm whether what Kat saw in her dreams is real, they start digging. Sure enough, beneath the stones lies a skeleton. As Kat touches it again, she finally understands the truth behind everything. More than 200 years ago, a woman named Molly lived on the island, and she fell in love with a merchant from outside, and the two were expecting a child. Her husband even handmade a cloth doll for their unborn baby as a keepsake, but their happiness did not last long, because the islanders saw the merchant as an outsider and believed he would disrupt the peace of the island. The villagers brutally killed him, and even forced Molly onto the cold ground, causing her to lose her unborn child. In despair, Molly held her lifeless lover, touched the child she had lost, and swore a blood oath against all the villagers, that they would pay for their actions, and that the village on this island would become a living nightmare. Using her own blood as a catalyst, she summoned a dark force and wiped out all the villagers in a single night. Molly herself, consumed by overwhelming resentment, became a vengeful spirit. and was eventually sealed deep within the island by a shaman using secret rituals. From that moment on, Ghostface Island became a forbidden place that no one dared to approach. It was not until Kat and her group arrived that the century-old seal was broken. Now filled with fear, they realized that to reseal the curse, they must find the cave where the witch once performed her ritual, and their missing companions may also be there. Before setting off, Ben takes the weapon left behind by the shaman, and the group wastes no time in moving forward. What they do not know is that their every move is already being watched by the witch. After crossing mountains and rough terrain, they finally find the entrance to the cave. But to reach it, they must first cross a river. Just as the last person, Lily, steps into the water, she suddenly feels something grab her.
Ben!
Fortunately, the shaman's weapon proves effective, and Ben manages to repel the witch. However, Lily is not as lucky. She is dragged into the water and disappears. Ben is overwhelmed with guilt, realizing that his resistance has cost Lily her life. Out of the original group of 7, only 4 remain. Night falls quickly, and they have no choice but to rest for the time being and plan the next move. But the moment they let their guard down, danger strikes again. Yes vanishes into the darkness right before the terrified eyes of the others. Fear pushes the remaining 3 to the brink of collapse. After enduring a night of torment, they finally reach the next morning. Now with no way out, they decide to make one last desperate attempt. Hearing Yes scream coming from inside the cave, they rush straight toward the entrance.
Прости меня. Прошу, я не хотела. Поздно просить прощения.
But the moment the 3 of them step inside, they are met with a horrifying sight. Yes has already died at the hands of the witch. In an instant, anger and grief surged through them, and Ben and Dawes could no longer hold back, grabbing their weapons and charging at the witch. But what neither of them expects is that the witch's wounds begin healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Under the witch's violent assault, the 2 of them are quickly overwhelmed, and at that critical moment, Kat suddenly notices a ritual setup not far away, and then finds a doll inside a box. Only then does she remember that the doll was the token the man gave to the witch. The moment Kat picks up the doll, the witch instantly lets go of Ben. It is as if Kat has touched the witch's deepest weakness, and the witch lunges at her in a frenzy. Even after becoming an evil witch, she still carries an obsession with her husband and child deep in her heart. That obsession is the source of her vengeance, but it is also her only weakness. Seeing Kat in danger, Ben and the others desperately rush forward to stop the witch, but in the end, they are no match for her.
Беги, Кат! Беги!
Looking at her friends collapsed before her, Kat is filled with grief and guilt, but she knows she cannot fall here. Only by escaping with the doll and finding a way to break the curse can she make her friend's sacrifice mean something. In her panicked escape, she ends up running to a ruined house, and this is exactly the home that once belonged to the witch before it was burned down. Before Kat can even react, the witch has already caught up with her. Consumed by rage, the witch grabs Kat by the throat, trying to strangle her to death. And at that very moment between life and death, Kat suddenly remembers something the witch's husband once said to her. With every bit of strength she has left, she imitates him and speaks those loving words to the witch.
Молли, мы всегда будем вместе.
As Kat calls out to her, the witch's expression gradually softens, and what replaces it is endless sorrow. 100 years of obsession slowly begin to dissolve in those familiar words of love, and little by little, she returns to a human form.
Отри ненависть и гнев. И ребенку, и тебе пора успокоиться. С миром. Все, что я сделала, было ради моего дитя.
Then, Kat is pushed into the lake. The witch's revenge was never truly about cruelty. It was about demanding justice. The hatred in her heart was born from the love in her heart. Once that love is awakened again, hatred loses its reason to exist. Her final release becomes the best farewell, both to herself and to the lover she lost. Touched by Kat's compassion, the witch ultimately lets go of her hatred, turning to ash and vanishing into nothing. And just as Kat's consciousness begins to fade beneath the water, the director delivers the film's most shocking twist, as all the memories come rushing back. In the very next second, Kat is suddenly pulled to safety, and the scene unexpectedly returns to the very beginning, to the moment when they were all diving together. When Kat finally regains her senses, she is horrified to discover that all of her friends are completely unharmed. This cursed journey, born from a reckless island adventure, ultimately reaches a complete ending through a release that transcends time itself. As a Malaysian horror thriller, Pulau perfectly blends folk taboos with suspense, using this cursed island journey to make the audience feel fear, while also drawing them into a deeper reflection on human nature and obsession. And the complete ending at the very end also lets us feel the director's tenderness. With the addition of time-crossing elements, every regret is mended, and every sacrifice is erased. This is not only a redemption for the characters in the story, but also an emotional release for the audience. Alright, the film is over. See you in the next one.